The Galactic Academy's final examination was legendary across 73 star systems. It was simple in concept, brutal in execution, survived 30 planetary rotations on Vareth 9, a death world classified as Category 7, the highest threat level in known space. Drexel checked his environmental suit for the 14th time, his chitinous fingers trembling despite his best efforts to appear calm. As a Krellinathi, he belonged to one of the oldest spacefaring species in the galaxy. A civilization that had mastered interstellar travel when humanity was still discovering fire. Yet here he stood terrified of a primitive planet. Beside him, Hana stretched her arms overhead with a yawn, her human face displaying that peculiar expression her species called a smile. She wore only the standard issue survival pack and basic clothing, having declined the environmental suit entirely. You sure about that? Drexel's translator rendered his clicking speech into galactic common. The atmospheric composition alone. It's got oxygen, right? Hana interrupted, scratching her dark hair. And the gravity is only 1.2 Earth standard. I'll be fine. Drexel's 4 eyes blinked in asynchronous confusion. Humans had joined the galactic community merely 2 centuries ago, practically yesterday in cosmic terms. They were newcomers, primitives who should be grateful for the opportunity to attend the academy at all. Yet Hana displayed no fear, no appropriate respect for Vareth 9's reputation. The transport bay doors opened with a pneumatic hiss. Beyond lay a nightmare landscape of volcanic plains, acidic rain clouds, and forests where every plant had evolved to kill. The other 63 examinees representing 42 different species shuffled forward with visible dread. Hana bounded out first, landing on Vareth 9's rusty soil with a laugh that echoed in the toxic air. The first week proved Drexel's fears justified. The Krellinathi wasn't built for such harsh environments. His homeworld was a garden paradise of controlled temperatures and carefully managed ecosystems. Here, everything attacked. The plants secreted contact poisons. The water sources contained aggressive microorganisms. Even the soil itself harbored spores that could infiltrate an environmental suit's seals. By day 9, 40 students had triggered their emergency beacons, accepting failure rather than death. Drexel's suit had developed 3 small tiers, patched desperately with his dwindling repair supplies. His rations were calculated precisely barely enough to survive if he consumed the minimum calories required for his biology. He found Hana on day 12, sitting beside a stream that Drexel's scanner confirmed was laden with toxic heavy metals. She was ... singing? Yes, producing those melodic vocalizations humans seem to generate for no practical purpose. What are you doing? Drexel demanded, his translator barely masking his panic. That water will kill you in hours. Hana looked up, her face smudged with dirt, but still displaying that impossible smile. Oh, hey Drexel. Actually, I boiled it first. Kills most of the bad stuff. Then I filtered it through charcoal and sand. She gestured to a crude apparatus constructed from rocks and plant fibers. Want some? You look terrible. My suit's filtration system is sufficient. Drexel lied, eyeing his contaminated water supply nervously. Suit yourself. Hana took a long drink, then splashed water on her face. This place reminds me of Australia. Or maybe the Amazon during rainy season. My grandmother told me stories about surviving in the outback. Makes you appreciate Earth's easier regions, you know? Drexel stared. Hana was comparing a Category 7 death world to regions on her homeworld, favorably. By day 18, Drexel's situation had become critical. A predator something resembling a 6-legged bear with crystalline spikes had destroyed his shelter and half his supplies. His suit now had 7 tiers, his rations were gone, and he'd developed a respiratory infection from atmospheric contamination. He triggered his beacon. The shame was overwhelming. Krellinathi didn't fail. They were advanced, sophisticated, superior. Yet here he was, defeated by a primitive planet, while a human thrived. Hana found him before the rescue shuttle arrived. She tracked him somehow, following signs Drexel hadn't even known he was leaving. She'd brought food, actual edible food. She'd somehow identified among Vareth 9's poisonous flora. Don't be too hard on yourself, she said, offering him a processed ration bar she'd apparently been saving. This place is tough. My monitor says only 9 students are left. How are you surviving? The question burst from Drexel before he could stop it. Hana shrugged. Adapt or die, right? That's been humanity's thing since the beginning. We're not the strongest or the fastest. We're not even that smart compared to some of you. But we're stubborn. We keep going. We find ways. She pointed to the forest where she'd established camp. See those small mammals? The furry ones with 6 legs? They've been following me, learning. I've been sharing my food scraps, and they've started imitating how I process plants to remove toxins. Started maybe 5 days ago. Drexel's analytical mind, even in his weakened state, immediately grasped the implications. That's protocultural transmission. You're teaching them? Not on purpose. They're just really observant. Smart little guys. Hannah's expression softened with something Drexel recognized as affection. They've started using tools, sharp rocks to crack nuts, sticks to dig for grubs. Yesterday, I saw one teaching another one my water filtration technique. You've sparked behavioral evolution in a native species in 18 days. Have I? Hannah looked genuinely surprised. Huh, that's cool. The rescue shuttle arrived, and as Drexel boarded, he looked back. Hannah waved cheerfully, clearly intending to complete the full 30 days. Around her makeshift camp, a dozen of the small creatures watched, several attempting to mimic her waving gesture. Drexel returned to the academy 3 weeks later, after medical treatment and psychological evaluation. The exam results had been posted. Of the 64 students who'd entered Verith 9, only 3 had completed the full 30 days. Hannah was one of them. But the real news came from the planetary monitoring team. The small mammals Hannah had encountered previously classified as non-sentient fauna with limited cognitive capacity had begun displaying unprecedented behaviors. They'd formed cooperative groups, developed basic tool use, and established what appeared to be teaching hierarchies. The behavioral changes were spreading through the population at an impossible rate. The Science Council had an emergency session. What would take most species millions of years had occurred in 1 month of exposure to a human. In the Academy's cafeteria, Drexel found Hannah eating something that smelled aggressively spiced. She greeted him with that same easy smile. I don't understand your species, Drexel admitted, sitting across from her. You're not superior in any measurable way, yet you succeed where we fail. You change environments simply by existing in them. Hannah considered this while chewing. Maybe that's the point, she finally said. We're not trying to be superior. We're just trying to survive. And maybe along the way we help others survive too. She pushed her plate toward him. Want to try human food? It's probably way too spicy for you, but adaptation starts with trying new things. Drexel looked at the offering, then at Hannah's encouraging expression. Against all his instincts and training, he took a small bite. It burned terribly. His eyes watered. His throat protested, but he took another bite anyway. Perhaps humans were onto something after all.